Carl and Damon here from Games, Brains and Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial.com for short. It's been a little while since I've said that exact intro with your name because, hell, things have been going on as we know. Life has been moving forward. It's funny because we were just talking off camera about something you were going through that even if I hadn't been dealing with my own stuff, the move and all of that, probably would have meant you were unavailable for a couple of weeks anyway. So call
Yeah.
it good timing. But we are back and we wanted to talk movies again. So here we are with a They Made What into a Movie. It's been a little while since we've done one, and it kind of gets us back into the swing of things. We went to a short animated one. One of our sort of favorite things to do is just find an animated TV movie or OVA or, well, whatever. Yeah, whatever it is. Those sort of films from the late 90s, early noughties, and yeah, watch one of them. And we've done quite a few of the big ones. So I was looking around and then I came across this one. And I vaguely remember the game. And I was like, okay, well, let me look into this and sort of see how much I remember. I then started reading up about the game, was like,
Mm.
I know nothing about this game. I knew nothing. I'm like, wait, what? And then I'm like, oh, it's been this Night Dive Studios, the one that remakes all the cool games, Shadow Man and stuff like that, or have also done this, remade this, and I need to go and check this game out because,
Yeah.
everything about it, the sort of the game side of things, I think it would appeal as a remake, remastering game.
Mm.
We are, of course, talking about Sin. But Damon, you were nodding your head when I said I knew nothing. I clearly you're the same. You know nothing.
Yeah. So when I was watching it, I actually had to stop to go. Is this even a bloody game? So because when he sent me the message, my first thing was I saw Sin. I thought, is this a Final Fantasy X fucking film?
Okay,
About Sin. That's what I
that's
thought. And then
cool. Yeah.
obviously, when I googled it on obviously YouTube, obviously a few things came up. So I wasn't even sure if I was watching the right film at all. I mean, I hope I watched the right bloody thing.
You,
But
if you're not sure next time, message me. I'll send you the bloody link. Was your
yeah,
one about? Was your one about Blade?
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
Blade the cop.
yeah.
There you go. Then that was the right one. But yeah, no, I mean, I had the same thing. I said I went in thinking, okay, I know what this is, and then I came out going, I ain't got a fucking clue about this. So I ended up watching some gameplay and stuff like that, and I do think it I think I don't know how, considering the time it came out, I don't know how we didn't come across this game.
Mm.
Came out in 1998. That is peak gaming for us. I was
Yeah,
what,
yeah,
14? You would have been what, 11, 12?
yeah, 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 yeah.
So PlayStation 1 era, Nintendo 64-ish, maybe not
Yeah.
quite at the 64 yet, but you
I
know what I mean?
mean, the fact that you're saying that it's obviously been remastered by the same guys who remastered Shadow Man, that's quite intriguing because obviously the remaster in Shadow Man was fantastic. So it is quite intriguing.
Well, Night Dive, let me just remind myself. I'm gonna Night Dive have done tons, including yeah, so Night Dive, where is it? Yeah, they've done Shadow Man, Power Slave, they've done Turok, they've done Quake, they've done System
Mm.
Shock, Forsaken. Basically, Night Dive's entire thing is they pick up these old IPs,
Yeah,
remaster them, and turn them into great. And use Power Slave as an example. Power Slave went under the name Exhumed when it was released in the 90s. It was a first
mm,
person shooter sort of set in Egypt. Um, and I played it a few months back, the remastering, having never played or really known much about the original. And I thought the remastering was one of the best first person shooter games I'd played. And generally, it was one of those where we missed out not
mm.
playing this. So I am a little later on, or probably tomorrow actually, because I don't think I've got time today, but tomorrow going to check and see if Sin is actually available on the consoles that I've got to
Mm.
see what it looks like and so on, because I'm intrigued.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm not intrigued by this film. By the film. I'm intrigued by not knowing anything and reading up and watching some gameplay. If I was basing it on what this film offered, no. Now we're gonna get into this the issues of this film obviously in a bit, but just let me just quickly do the spiel about Sin. It is a first-person shooter game developed by Ritual Entertainment and published by Activision in 1998. And that was the other thing, published by Activision. I swear
Mm.
we played pretty much every Activision game back in the day. That
Yeah, yeah.
logo popping up You know, I just remember it. This is so weird. Anyway, the story it's set in a dystopian future of 2037. I know that's well scary because
Yeah.
that's in like 11, 12 years away.
Yeah.
Well, John Blade, a commander in a security force named Hardcore in the mega city of Freeport. Every time anyone said Hardcore, I was like, oh, I just kept making porno jokes in my head.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in the mega city of Freeport, he's tasked to rid the city of a recreational drug that might be tied to the rival biotechnology mega corporation Syntech. The movie is a Japanese adult animated cyberpunk action slash horror. It's listed as a horror, and I get because of the blood, but
Yeah.
oh, it's certainly not a traditional horror. Yeah, video animation released in 2000 by ADV Films. It was released on VHS and DVD in Japan and the USA. Got a special edition DVD in 2003 with more features, and in 2009 it was re-released again on DVD. And that's about it. Details beyond that are pretty light. You'll struggle to get a decent synopsis for the film, because I really wanted one because the first 10 minutes were so confusing. I was just like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I need to read something up. But there isn't really, there's just an overview. So it's down to me. I'm going to try and give you the best explanation I can of of what the story is. The issue is, this film is around 60 minutes long, and it tries to jam in so much,
Yeah.
an insane amount, so much that it will do like a subplot, and they'll start talking about a thing, and then it's just abandoned and forgotten about completely, and they're like, the fuck was the point of even mentioning that?
Yeah. 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 Definitely.
It's weird. If this was like a live action film, you'd be like, oh, well, that cut to pieces in the editing. But obviously, as an animation, that's not quite how it works, you know?
No, no, no. I mean, I do think it could have had some good potential because I like the idea of the story, and I'll always refer to like this. Obviously gave me memories of Vampire Hunter D sort of style, a bit of Castlevania sort of style. You know, the graphics and all that. You know, and even a bit of Devil May Cry, with like a bad guy sort of creatures and all that sort of stuff.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I think that's an interesting touch. Yeah, the mutants, the monsters, kind of have that kind of look, don't they?
yeah,
And here's the thing: this isn't me think. I don't. I'm going to say it now. I don't think this is a terrible film. I think
mm,
it's. I think it's bad because of how badly the story is told, how blasé it is, how rushed a lot of it is, how much talking there is compared
mm,
to action. Like all of that makes it a bad film for me. But like you can see the good in it, and you think had they done not that I had they done a full feature length film and gone 90 minutes and fleshed out stories here and there, it might have been quite cool.
mm.
But anyway, let's get a little bit into it, and we'll talk a bit more as we go on. Just a quick rundown on the major players, voice actors. Colonel Blade is voiced by Markham Anderson. Jennifer Armack, or JC, is Shelley Kalaine Black. Jason Armack, or JC, is Chris Patton. We'll get into how confusing that fucking was.
Yep.
Alexis Sinclair, Sean Taylor, Vincenzo Mancini, Andy McAven, Kate Palmer. That character annoyed me because that character is a major player, but you only get her name said at the end of the film. And I'm like, oh my God, how important were you? Latisse Towns Chelier, Tim Perko, Vic Mignogna, Elise Stewart, Danielle Kimball, Lorenzo Vitelli, Ted Pifster, Dr. Daniel Greenwald, whose name's never said, just called Doc, David
Yeah.
Parker. And that's about all I cared about. There was a long list. A lot of them were secondary, nobody characters. I gave up at that point. Okay, the film begins at a rainy funeral where we focus on one man, who we actually then later cut to see on TV being asked about missing girls. Apparently, this is a cop named John Blade who's really moody. I mean, he's such a fucking cliche. The only part
Yeah.
of me that doesn't want to play the game is that I will have to play as this twat.
Mm.
Like, dude, you're not fun or cool enough to be Duke Nukem. So just drop the whole fucking like, I'm
Yeah.
bad. It's so boring.
Mm.
But yeah, they're about to bust a drug ring. And what we do is we keep flashing back to the funeral as basically the film is spelling out that Blade's partner JC, is the one in the coffin, and he appears to have died at the hands of Blade. So, what happened? Their team were chasing down some kind of monster across a futuristic city. And this is where I talked to you about the schizophrenic fucking film. We go
Mm.
from what we believe is they're basically being criticized by the press because they're not focusing on missing girls. Instead, they're
Yeah,
busting some drug, like a drug ring. And then, like, we're cutting from that to the funeral. And then immediately, they're just chasing down some kind of monster across a city who happens to have a missing girl in his arms. He's carrying across the city. And you're like,
yeah,
so what happened? Did they go, oh, forget the drug? Like, what? Which was it?
yeah. I mean, I just gathered it was obviously with the funeral, it was obviously to having flashbacks for that moment.
Yeah,
I presume, yeah,
yeah,
that's what I just presume.
yeah.
But
I did too, but only on like so. Basically, I'll own up to this. I had to watch the first 10 minutes of this film 3 times because I couldn't
mm,
get it. It was so all over the place that I realized after 10 minutes I wasn't I wasn't taking it in. I couldn't follow it, so I had to go
mm,
back and do it again. And then a second time I was like, right, I'm getting it, but I still didn't. I felt like I started to worry that it was the version we were watching, and I'm thinking like, oh my god, is it the version we're watching? And now I need to go and check this. But after the third time, I finally managed to get some notes together. Hence what I'm reading now. So
yeah,
this monster is apparently the one responsible for the kids' kidnappings. And we see Blade and JC follow into the sewers. Down there, JC gets distracted. He kind of sees, I don't know what it is, like a goopy mass. So, as you do in all classic films, horror, when you see something like that, I mean, Alien made an entire franchise of this. Hey, there's an egg.
yeah,
Let me put my face in that egg. Alien wouldn't exist if
yeah,
people weren't stupid. And his response to seeing this goopy moving mass is to reach out for it. And I'm just like, well, I don't know if I feel sorry for you anymore.
yeah. It's the typical stupid character who you know is going to die.
Yes, exactly that. It grabs him, and then we see the others being attacked. When the smoke clears, though, they see it's JC who's half transformed into some sort of mutant with the girl in his arms. So basically, whatever he reached out for sort of infected him and started to transform. Now, I actually really liked this scene. I thought this was quite cool, kind of nasty, like a bit horrible, and to sort of, half kill me, slash, don't kill me, I'm your friend thing, like the human and
Yeah.
like, I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, so the one thing I'll always say about these sort of 90s shows, the animation is extremely impressive and it still holds up. As I was saying, things like Vampire Hunter D, like Cuts of it still holds up with the amazing animation. So I'll always praise that.
It's shown its age. You are right. I think Vampire Hunter D is a great example because it's cut from that same cloth. It is
Mm,
showing its. I do think it's showing its age, but I also agree with you. I sat there and I went, well, this is 26 years old. Well, almost, yeah, about 26 years old. The issues with it, and bear in mind, I'm watching a non HD version on YouTube. Like, I thought it looked pretty good.
mm.
And we see that as well because Blade has to put JC down in, and there you kind of get like quite a lot of blood, like he gets shot in the eyes several times, and it's quite gory. I was like, okay, that's cool.
Mm.
Then we
Yeah,
get the opening credits, and those opening credits are very late 90s, early noughties with the music, the soundtrack. I thought it was very era specific.
yeah,
They did go on for a while though. The student I would say it's almost like a minute long, and it's like, okay, guys, we don't have enough time. You need to wrap this up.
yeah, definitely.
Afterwards, Blade is met by some old guy who promises to help him because he knew his father. And then we see they're being monitored from afar by some woman who's all angry to see Blade meeting this guy. Apparently, okay. I presume we'll get to know these characters in a bit. Kind of. The film does not have enough time to tell us more.
Yeah, I mean this whole segment with like the gangster sort of backstory, I completely went over my head and was completely pointless. It gets mentioned once or twice and then completely forgotten about.
Exact right. This is the stuff where it's like, with more time, this could have been fleshed out. You could have cut every single fucking section involving a mafia gangster guy, and it would have made no fucking difference to the film.
Yep, exactly.
Yep. Right, though, here's something that is important to the film. We go to Syntech Industries Corporate HQ, where we meet Alexis Sinclair. And I thought she was some sort of monster to begin with, because she's like wrapped up in this machine in some sort of tank, taking video calls, corporate video calls. And in very quick fashion, we learn that she's related to the mutants. We then see her emerge from the underwater. So she's in like some sort of pool, and it's just rich people doing rich people stuff, basically.
Yeah.
And it made me laugh, because immediately it's like, well, here we go. Now we know what kind of animation this is, because obviously she's in woman and she's been animated. So what's she got? A voluptuous figure, large boobs, and when she comes out of the pool, she's in a near state of undress where she's not naked, but you see enough.
Yeah.
Fucking stop being weird, people.
Typical Japanese, but with the hentai stuff.
It is that style of animation. True. I will defend it. It's not actually hentai. Let's not convince people it's that, because it's on you. But we will get, I think, a stranger half kind of naked scene later on that I really want someone to explain to me, because I don't fully understand it.
Yeah.
Okay, right, so yeah, Sinclair, she meets a man named Vincent who seems to want more than just business from her, as they have this sort of flirty back and forth thing. And you might be thinking, well, what's all this? And I've got to say, who cares? At this stage, we don't have time for this, because, hey, back to Blade as at a police station now, basically, which I almost thought, oh, this is kind of cool. Maybe we'll do like a RoboCop thing here, because I kind of got that vibe. But then it didn't have the style. Remember RoboCop in the police station scenes, and like how cool they look. They're burned in your mind. They've got a style. That Detroit City has a style.
Yeah.
This has none. This has no style at all. But yeah, Blade's confronted by that woman from earlier on, and she works for some sort of enforcement team, and she's demanding that Blade stay out of the mutant case. But she immediately then drops the ball, because I'm thinking, okay, well, it's like, I don't know, FBI over like fucking locals, law enforcement, that kind of thing, I guess, right? But she drops the ball by immediately revealing she has a personal vendetta against him. Well done for keeping it professional, right?
Well, that's her straight away off the case.
Right.
If we're going by the law, she's got a personal vendetta. She's straight away off the case.
Well, like, she literally tells him, like, you're responsible for my brother's death. Yeah, JC was her brother. But in a baffling moment where I went, what? She's also called JC. And I was like, why would you do that? I went back, looked at the fucking credits, and was like, but neither of them are actually called JC.
Yeah.
In the credits, I was baffled. I spent longer trying to work out what I was doing wrong, or why I thought, am I hearing this wrong? Am I not getting it? But no, they're called now. Weirdly, near the end of the film, they will make mention of this. They won't explain it, but they'll make mention of it, and I still find it irritating. Why would you do that? How confusing is that? Oh, Blade's all upset because he killed his partner JC. But also, here's JC's sister, JC. What are you doing?
Stupid.
Oh my god. Anyway, she ends up accusing Blade of being in bed with the mafia, just like his father was. And this explains that the man Blade met earlier on was Lorenzo Vitellio, a mob boss. Folks, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. Anyway, cut to Vincent trying to have his way with Sinclair. He's now in bed with her. They seem like he's well into her. She's being flirtatious, but a call interrupts as the satellite displays images of a mutant. So basically, I'm gonna just tell. Basically, she creates bioweapons. It's Resident Evil shit. She creates bioweapons, turning human beings into mutants, and these mutants will then go and destroy armies. And that's what we see as it's taking out a bunch of tanks in some foreign country. Of course, this is about money or power or I don't know, world-ending shit. They never really say what her goal is. But basically, this is what her company does, or Syntech does, and why and how and all of that. You're asking too many questions. This is what's happening. Vincent is impressed, and I was like, "Oh, they're such bad guys," because he's like, "Oh, that's good stuff. That makes me horny, baby."
Yeah.
But no, he's been poisoned. Ah, yes, because Sinclair is the really, really bad guy. He's a bad guy, but she's like the extra bad guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and we see her kind of basically, she's going to use him in her experiments as we then see him being operated on. She's such a bad guy. She also does the operations. I was like, you work in a huge corporation. Why are you the one being like, why have you got the scalpel?
Yep.
Here's the thing. I actually weirdly think she could have been a really cool character with a bit more time. I like the voice acting. I think she's
Mhm.
sexy. I think she sounds dangerous. Like, I think there's a cool bad guy in there, you know?
Well, as I said, we already said at the beginning, there's far too much being rammed into a 60-minute period. It's not enough time.
Folks, we haven't got to the shit about her father yet. In the last 3 or 4 minutes, that's what is going to give us that.
Uh,
All right, elsewhere, we get a good shot of a vibrant city as basically Blade's checking in on the girl that was rescued. Now, I will stop here. We get a couple of good city shots. It's not the most exciting of cities, but I do get a bit of style to it. Like something that made me think this is not what I've seen elsewhere, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, he's checking in on this girl that's traumatized. And oh, I'm going to start it here. She acts like a child. I thought this was a child, right?
Yep.
Right? Particularly as Blade gives her a teddy bear, and this kind of helps her open up. And her name's Elise, and she's all like, "Oh, thank you, my daddy, and all of this and stuff." Like she's young, right? Right?
Well, I thought she was young, but then obviously for what happens towards the end of the film.
Right, we'll get to that. Well, the reason why
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
telling you this, people, is because this was the baffling thing. For what I thought this girl, at best, was maybe 11, 12 years old, based on the way she's
yeah.
acting. Then you can say, oh no, well, she was traumatized, so maybe she regressed a bit. The film is not clever or interesting or done well enough to add that layer to things
No,
at
no
all,
one.
you know? Plus, guys, we're 20 minutes into a 60-minute film. Maybe we don't need to focus on the bit where we see like, oh, because Blade's given her a teddy bear, he's a good guy. He's a man with a heart. Or he's kind of like, I guess he's a bit like RoboCop, really, because he's got a robotic body. That's what he reveals to her. Because she grabs his hand, she's like, "Oh, your hands are cold." Again, very kid-like.
Yeah,
Right. Do you know who's watching this from afar? JC. She's all like, ugh, ugh. And basically, she then gets lectured by who we will later know as Kate about being like, well, I guess maybe he's not such a bad guy. And I'm like, hold up a second here. If she suspects him as being in league with the fucking mafia, him handing over a teddy bear to a little girl doesn't change that fucking fact, does it? So yeah, Blade is now called and told they have another one. And then we cut to plenty of units, including Blade and his team. Here's the thing, I keep saying team, but I really don't know because it seems to just be Blade, Kate. There's another guy that we will, well, in a bit at the police station.
yeah,
Apparently he's like really important, but like the film made no clue. Now, I gather some of this might be more important in the game, but as we said at the start, we don't know game. So we can't
yeah,
really do the comparison. But yeah, so if there's a team, I'm just saying team because they were together,
yeah. They sit in there together. So.
but they head out to a different part of the city, and then one group, and immediately you know they're in trouble because they're like a load of faceless cops. Where you're like, well, you weren't in the film already, so you're in trouble now, aren't you? As they find a yeah, so this group finds she's a child or a teenager carrying a teddy, and this teddy thing confused me because bear in mind we've just come back from a scene involving another kid who, let's be honest, we didn't see a lot of. So I momentarily thought, is this the same kid? Right?
Yep. I thought the
Why
exact same thing.
why would you give this second kid a teddy? Give her a fucking doll or something if you really need something different. But why a teddy, you
Yeah,
know? It just made it so confusing. Anyway, this is a mutant in what I think's probably the film's best scene. Uh, where,
mm.
you know, the teddy transforms into a mutant, the little girls kind of join the gleefulness of it. And at the same time, we kind of cut to the police station where another monster is like assaulting it. That combination I actually quite enjoyed.
Yeah, yeah. That definitely was. It was definitely good.
Right, Blade attacks the now transformed monster in the alley, and it is destroyed. The monster in the station is halted by JC. Now, I'm going to call her Woman JC because I don't want to confuse things, but for now, Woman JC and another cop who we will later find out because of her crying at his grave is called Tim. And I guess we're supposed to care or know who Tim is. That's the way it
Yep.
implies.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
he thinks he's killed a mutant, at least until it appears behind him, and it kind of basically assimilates him, kind of half sucks in his body. And Tim's all like, kill me, you know, all that nonsense. Ripley from Alien Resurrection. That's what I always think of when I see that. And we get this really unearned scene where JC's like, I can't do it because weak woman. I mean, come on, man. Blade didn't even the whole like if they had done that earlier on, well, at least Blade thought about it. But because like she's like, I can't do it, and she ends up
Yep.
just getting knocked out then. And the cop Tim is the one who stabs the monster from inside its body, and I'm like, you made her look so pathetic there.
Oh no, no. It was a typical from going from Blade being a man's man, basically going instantly killing his friend or whatever, and then
Yeah,
her being a typical a stereotype woman, I suppose.
yeah,
You can
the
call it.
stereotype. Yeah, exactly
Yeah,
that. Emotional. She starts thinking back to her bro, yeah, which
yeah,
doesn't make sense because surely Blade would have made more sense for Blade the one to perhaps in the alleyway to
yeah.
before he kills the mutant, the girl, he thinks of JC. It would make more sense for him, but because I'm Blade and I'm the fuck off, man.
Yeah. I got the impression that maybe these two had some sort of relationship. That's what I thought. Maybe and that's why she couldn't do it.
I think you're probably right because they have a
Yeah,
little bit of rapport, but the film has no time for that. So what the fuck
yeah,
does it matter to us? Anyway, Blade and company arrive back at the station to discover the carnage. There's a lot of dead bodies, a lot of blood and stuff like that. Again, would have been really cool to explore this, the traumatic event of people,
yeah.
like it would have been cool. Kind of, which, oh no, is it the third RoboCop that has like the police station shut up? Because if that's the case, the third RoboCop sucks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Where were the cops? Yeah, they
You do you know what I mean? Like I
basically.
vaguely remember that. Wait, is it a game? Am I thinking of a fucking game? It's anyway something
Yeah,
RoboCop related. Anyway, I don't know why I keep reference. It's because he is fucking RoboCop,
yeah,
just
yeah.
not as cool or interesting as Murphy.
Yeah.
Right. So Blade is furious to find that the monster responsible was Vincent. So remember, Vincent has been operated on. This is what he is now. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. Except that I was like, oh, so Blade and Vincent have a history? When was I going to be told that, guys? We then see a distraught JC being comforted by Blade. And I actually wrote, this film is schizophrenic. It is just one. And I'm just like, I cannot keep up with this fucking nonsense.
Yeah, it's almost like we missed an entire 20 minutes
Yeah,
of
just
dialogue and
yeah, or like characters interacting. Because I
mm,
started to panic here. I was like, oh my god, we've got less than 30 minutes left. Are we now about to do love story between JC and Blade? Now,
yeah,
thankfully, the film does not have time for this. Thankfully,
no,
but it gets fucking. There's a scene later where it just went meh, meh, warning alarms went
yeah,
off. Anyway, cut to Blade being given the rundown by the doctor about the mutant DNA of the monster that attacked the station. Basically, it was almost indestructible, save for a missing DNA strand, which the doctor believes is in a lease. And I just wrote, what?
mm.
How? What? You know what? But also, I don't think I care. Just get on with it. Just get on with it.
No, because I have a habit of trying to compare like games and films. Okay, so
Yeah.
when I was looking at this whole scene of like DNA mutating, straight away I was thinking they're copying the fucking thing. This is the whole story of the thing about the DNA touches one and it turns into this one. I think it's like you stop copying. I don't know if they came out in the same sort of period, but it's like it's so similar of like the DNA strand and
Oh, well, I can tell you that 100% did not come out in the same period. The Thing, John
yeah,
Carpenter's The Thing is from 1984. 84? Yeah, no, well,
yeah, 83 when
1980s.
I was
Very,
82 or something. Yeah,
yeah, early 80s, basically. So, yeah, that's definitely the case. I know what you mean by the sort of assimilation
yeah.
thing on that side of things. But here's the thing. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, and it doesn't really connect to anything as we go forward anyway. Right.
Mm.
JC now arrives and reveals that she suspects Sinclair might be responsible for this. She doesn't really have proof, but who cares about that, right? Like, she's just like, oh, I think this is Sinclair. And it's like, why and how? You know? Cut to Blade gearing up, right? So you're like, okay, they're going to go assault. Hey, well, the gearing up scene. Except because this film is this one of these films,
Um,
he's not just gearing up. She's in the shower. So we're cut over to him getting all the weapons together and here in the shower. And I was like, fucking anime, man. What are they like?
You know, again, I'm going to do it again. But as soon as I saw this, I thought they're copying fucking Vampire Hunter D, man. You know, the great film, and then we're throwing a little shower scene with the girl, you know, getting naked, and
Yeah.
okay, they don't show any, they don't show her back,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's the impression.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's designed to titillate. It's like,
Yeah,
do you know what
yeah.
I mean? Like this woman, her figure is perfect. She's got a large chest where you're getting a lot of side boob. It's like
Mm.
that. Like they know exactly what they're doing. It's water dripping off her bare back. They know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, of course.
Anyway, Blade's request to investigate Syntech Industries is denied. And furious, he accuses his captain of corruption. Oh, you Ridley? All that. And like, I love the fact that like everyone else around him is like, you've got like nobody says to make like you got no like everybody just goes along with this. And then like because Blade's questioning his captain, he gets fired. But that's not gonna stop him.
Mhm.
Um, and then we also at the same time see JC reflecting on her brother's admiration for Blade. It's like, oh my God, you can see where this is going and you see what they want to do. With more time, she'll be like, I'm falling in love with you, Blade. Like it
Yes,
would be that, you
it
know?
will be. Yeah.
Anyway, forget all of that. Blade has gone to see Lorenzo. So that mafia thing is now back in the film for no reason.
Hmm.
And Lorenzo apparently is like, yeah, look, the world's changing. I'm going to leave town and you should come with me. I'm like, what? What? What is
Yeah,
this? And
yeah.
I'm like, okay,
It's
they're gonna.
random.
I presume they were gonna reveal that this guy was his father.
Mm.
No, he actually reveals that his father was a cop too, or a dead cop now, and that he reveals that his father was sometimes willing to do dirty things to make sure the guilty didn't get away with it. And that is the worst fucking thing. Like that's it. Like I'm like, that makes his father a bad guy. Like
Yep.
justice sucks sometimes, and sometimes people who are guilty of stuff will get away with certain things, but that's you can't go be like, you know what, I'm going to go do something criminal to make sure this guilty. You know, it just doesn't work that way.
No.
It's a weird thing to sort of put in there. Like I'm supposed to be like, oh well, oh wow, look how honorable the father was, and this mafia
Yep.
guy who apparently is just a mafia guy. So again, why should I like him or care about him?
Exactly.
Like, and
Exactly.
also, Blade, if you don't want people to think you're on bed with the mafia, stop going to see the guy who's in the mafia.
I know exactly, and bear in mind, he's just a basic cop. He's not even like a captain or commander. He's just a standard cop.
Yeah, he really is. He is just a grunt, as it were. And what I don't understand even more is this Lorenzo. He only appears to be as a family friend.
Mm.
That's not enough. Like like he's a bad guy. Like what kind of cop are you, Blade? I will uphold the law, except when you're a family friend and you're in the mafia. And like what? Anyway, he does reveal that his father was investigating Syntech and had got hold of some sort of serum. And he mentions, I thought it was some sort of cure serum for the mutants, but later we'll see it's really not. And you know what I compare it to? Have you seen? And it's called it coincidental because his name is Blade. But Blade, the film, as in Blade, the vampire, the half vampire, the Dampier, played by Wesley Snipes. In that first film, they introduced this serum that I don't know makes the vampires bubble up and explode. It's what's used to kill the bad guy at the end of the film. Some motherfuckers are always trying to skate uphill. What does that even mean, Wesley? What kind of dumbass line was that? But yeah, anyway, that's what this serum reminded me of when we see it later
Mm.
on. Because at first I'm like, oh, it's like a cure. Okay, that's cool, but it's really not that.
No.
What it is used. It's a get out clause. It's a fucking way to kill an indestructible thing. Because didn't this always bother you? In Blade, Deacon Frost, is a
Mm.
god at the end. Yet he's still then just killed by this. And I know a lot of them are put into his body, but like, there's a point he gets his body cut in half and his arm chopped off, and they go back together. But
Yep.
at the end, he just kind of gets, and nobody acknowledges the fact that this thing was able to kill a god. Now, obviously, it's like, well, I guess he wasn't a god then.
Mm.
But like, and maybe that's what that line means about skating uphill. Like, you're not really
Yeah.
a god. I just that line always bothered me.
The problem with those sort of things, whenever they go, oh, this creature is indestructible, there's always a way to kill
Which
it.
which is totally fine because you've written
Yeah.
yourself into a corner. But you know what I mean. But just sort of give us that. Give me Zelda boss. I want a big old bright red glowing thing that you have to attack to kill that boss. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So what's Blade gonna do? He's gonna team up with JC and Kate apparently, and go assault Syntech. Uh, Talking about Syntech, things have gone what I consider weird. As
Mm.
she has Elise tied on a table, but Elise is suddenly older, or looks and is behaving older than she was when we first met her. And what really makes this confusing is she's in an extremely, what I would describe as a sexy outfit. It's designed to titillate, barely covering her parts. She's got larger breasts, of course. And I was like, wait, isn't this supposed to be a fucking kid? And then I'm like, wait, did I just misunderstand it earlier on? Like, it is a really jarring moment. And it's what we were talking about earlier on when we were saying things are going to get a bit
Yeah.
strange.
Yeah, it's confusing because again, you thought she was like 10, 11. Now she looks like she's 16 to
17,
maybe, yeah,
18,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Unless because of her DNA, she's aged. I don't know. I've got no
Well,
idea.
I know we've got the whole thing about being different ones being created in a moment, so it's like she's one of many. But like,
Mm.
this is implying, for our benefit, this has to be the original Elise,
That's
because
why. Yeah.
why it doesn't make a lot of sense. So the best I can do to give the film the benefit of the doubt is that the Elise that we saw earlier on, her trauma had made her act younger, and she really was a teen. I mean, I'm struggling here because she
Yeah.
seemed so young. It's so weird. Japanese animators, why are you being weird? Stop
Yeah.
being weird.
And as for the outfit, it reminded me of the Final Destination outfit, the one what's their face wears with the white
Oh
lines.
no, you mean
Yeah,
you don't mean Final Destination, you mean The Fifth Element.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, Fifth Element.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Mila
Yeah,
Jovovich is very,
yeah,
very convenient.
yeah,
Yeah, very convenient coverings, as we would call it. Yeah, that's
yeah.
quite fun actually. Yeah, yeah. Stop drawing schoolgirls getting banged by octopuses, please. It's all weird. But speaking of, also like what makes it extra weird is Sinclair is also now dressed super sexily, but she's dressed in what is like some sort of weird villain outfit. She looks like she belongs in like a fighting game. Made me think of like Darkstalkers or Street
Yep.
Fighter. It's really odd, and I'm gonna presume this is a character or a boss from the game, and this is what the outfit's
Mm.
supposed to be. But it's
Yeah,
like, oh right, well we're clearly at the end game now because now she's dressed like a villain.
yeah. I gather that.
All right, so she talks to Elise about their connection, reveals all through a short backstory that she was created one of many and will be the ultimate weapon for her to destroy humanity. All right, fine. There it is. Forget all of that though. Here's an overly complicated assault and syntech bit that involves the two women in Blade's helicopter bitching at each other for no reason. Women, right? I hated this scene. So we
Yep.
get this, I think, really overly complicated discussion about, oh, it's a minefield. How are we going to get into the building? And we're going to have to do this. All while these two women are like, ew, I hate you. You're a bitch. Ew, I hate you too. And Blade's out, will you two knock it off? I'm like, what the fuck, man? What, like, I don't know what the point was. Like, I get why, like, Kate may not like Jay, but like, none of this is earned. And then I start to think, are we doing a whole, they're both hot for Blade, so they're jealous?
It definitely feels that way. Yeah.
Anyway, the assault begins, and our hero Blade is able to break in, but JC is right behind him, also breaking. And that's when we get that scene that I mentioned earlier on that I wasn't particularly happy about because she kind of falls into his arms and sort of like falls into his arms and like she's on his chest, like, and it's like, oh god, oh, I accidentally fell on
Yeah. Here we
you.
go.
Yep. Um, But he's also not happy that she's there, and he's like, well, you better keep up. Anyway, Sinclair, obviously alarms going off, and Sinclair's like, oh, it's Blade. I'm like, oh, so you know him? You know him? Like you have a thing with him? When?
Oh no! Again, missing the entire scene somewhere.
Yeah. And then she's like, orders all our mutants to be unleashed to stop him. And I'm like, okay, that seems a bit extreme. You know, you don't have better security, but fair enough. Anyway, what we get is drama, action. I think some of the poorest animation because of how dark things are, and very little reason to care. That's what we get basically as the duo. Well, I say duo, but really it is just Blade. Do battle with a group of powered up mutants, and it's nothing particularly good. With around 10 minutes left, Blade now gets distracted. This was weird, right? They're going up the stairs. They get to floor 13, and Blade's like, and she's like, what's wrong? And he's like, I need to go finish something. And I was like, did he hear something? What happened? Did he see floor 13 and think, well, if I was a bad guy, I'm going to stop and wait on floor 13? What was this?
But no idea. But I said, like you, I done the same thing. I checked the timer and I saw there was like 9 minutes left, and I thought there's a lot to get in 9 minutes.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But yeah, so basically who he ends up finding in there. Oh, I think you've frozen up. No, you're back. This connection is really fucking shit today.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The connection is going terrible. I don't know what's going on today.
Yeah, fucking annoying when you want to do a video. All right, let's carry on. We'll just get through it. But anyway, it turns Blade's instincts were right or something, because on this floor is the Vincent mutant, and they do battle. And it appears now the Vincent mutant is indestructible. So I guess the final DNA strand got added. I don't know. He's just like, yo, you can't kill me and all of that. And Blade gets badly beaten up and wounded, but is saved by JC, and then uses his robotic insides to electrocute the monster. Except that's not the end of it. This causes him to transform into an even bigger baddie, because that's how boss battles happen. But this allows Blade to use. Well, this is the Blade vampire movie ending. He uses the cure on him, which kills him, and I'm just like, okay, so not that indestructible then. I don't get it. But I guess it's kind of the big boss battle, except it's not really. It's not. Because even though we've only got a couple of minutes left, we're going to have an even bigger boss battle in a minute.
Yeah.
Right, they finally confront Sinclair, who gives the whole like, I'm a villain speech, and reveals that Blade was given his cybernetic parts by them. And his father did it to save his son. So basically his father was like, my son's been badly hurt. Let me ask for help from Sinclair, or Sinclair's father, to save my son. But apparently it was also done so that his son would have a weapon to use against Syntech in the future. I don't get that at all. I really don't. But again, whatever. We've got literally minutes left.
Yep.
Here's Kate, though. But Sinclair isn't defeated yet, as she unleashes a huge hulking mutant, which is basically her father in like a fucking vacuum, a tube, with half mutant. It looked cool, I guess, but it had no impact because we've got like 3 minutes left of the fucking film, you know?
Yeah, it looked good, but it was just so weird. Constantly calling him like father. Oh, just weird.
Yeah, because his father, other than briefly mentioned as the originator, is not a character. So, like, there's no impact here. It's basically final boss time. It all seems too much for Blade, except Blade, the cybernetic part allows him to power up and use a super fist. And he defeats the monster, which goes haywire. And what happens next seems a bit extreme, and it all kind of just flashes across the screen. But basically, it ends up causing a satellite to shoot a laser, which cuts the creature in half, blasts Sinclair out of the building, so you know that means she lived, even though we don't see any kind of like scene like that. And the entire building comes crashing down. You know, like it's quite a frantic, frenetic scene, and kind of just ends things. Well, we got one final scene, but it's all kind of quick and done, you know?
Yep. Completely rushed.
Yeah, because they had no time. Because then it was just like, here's all our heroes. Blade is thanked by Elise and hugged by JC. And I'm like, they're standing there, they kind of like, It's kind of like the I thought we were doing the Mortal Kombat ending. We know they were like, "Hey, you guys are all right," and the music's playing and everybody's dancing, and then like the clouds go dark and it's Shao Kahn, "You weak pathetic fools, I've come." Nope, it just cuts to
Uh,
credits, and I was like, "Oh, all right." And don't get me wrong, I'm like, "Okay, cool. I'm glad that was over because I don't know if I could have dealt with another scene that wasn't really going to mean anything." But fuck
yeah.
me. What a mess. And that's Sin, the movie. I have no idea, still no idea how this relates to the game, if it's a good adaptation, a relatable thing. I will hopefully be able to maybe do a video in the future where I talk about it more because I played the game. But right now, we got an animated action slash adventure film that had good parts and could have been something quite special, but was told in such a haphazard way, it just ended up being incredibly frustrating. At the end of this, still come back to what I said at the start, I think it's bad. I think whatever it did good is lost in just a miasma of here's this, here's this, here's this, here's this, here's this, here's this, boom, done.
Yeah, I agree. I said had it had potential, was okay. Well, I won't watch it again. I'd play the game. I'd be interested on the remastering because obviously after playing Shadow remastering, I'm definitely interested to have a look at it. But other than that, I've got no knowledge, no push and go.
Yeah, that's the thing. Would this push you to play the game? And the answer is not really. Like, haven't watched it? No. It's more the intrigue more than anything else. But that's about where it ends, I think.
Yeah, it'd be more that I'll probably search it on YouTube and have a look at it on YouTube and see if it's any worth watching a few videos. If it ain't, I wouldn't bother really.
Yeah, do check out some gameplay videos. I did watch some, and I thought, like I said, it looked quite interesting. But yeah, this is a film. This is
Mm.
an animated film that required like another 20, 30 minutes to really flesh out the story. We might have had something good. I don't think the character of Blade would have been any more interesting. I think they would have probably just doubled down on things like the love story or the idea of a love story rather than actually telling an interesting stuff. But
Yeah,
at least it might have made it a bit more fun to watch, you know?
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
But, there are positives. As we said, it's gory. When the action does kick off, there's some good stuff. The mutant designs are decent. The city looks cool. The world could be interesting in a kind of dystopian way. And even like Sinclair as a bad guy could have worked. There's a lot of stuff that could have worked. It just
Mm.
needed a shit more time and a tighter story, basically.
Yeah, definitely.
There you go. There's our talk through and review of Sin, the movie. Have you got any thoughts you want to share? And also, you know what to do. Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It does help us out. You can find us at gbhbl.com and across all social media platforms. And if you really want to give us a bit of extra support, please consider buying us a cup of coffee over on our coffee page. Thank you.